right. I think I'm on. I don't even have the chat open yet. This is a scramble. I have it ready. No one's talked or anything. So I might be a couple minutes behind. Let's go. I'm so excited. They're muted right now. That's not me doing it. Oh, I'm afraid to open up the chat. We're doing it though. Okay. I can't believe they came back with a verdict the same day. I was wondering, they were asking a lot of questions. All right, let me see if it can be moved forward.
Foreperson, I understand that you have a verdict.
On behalf,
If you can please hand it to the bailiff. Madam Clerk, would you please post?
Your Honor, these are case numbers 2024 GS 23 2194, 5425A, 5413, 5412. As to the charge of murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to the charge of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to the charge of burglary first degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to the charge of harassment first degree, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. As to the charge of harassment second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to the charge of conspiracy to commit harassment first degree, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. As to the charge of conspiracy to commit harassment second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Signed by our foreperson. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is a verdict you reached in your deliberation room and this is still your verdict now, please raise your right hand. Thank you.
Anything from the state?
Nothing from the state.
nothing as relates to the jury.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've told you this before, and on behalf of the state of South Carolina and Greenville County, I want to thank you for all of your service for the last 2 weeks. I know this has demanded a lot from you. You all have been extremely attentive. I know that this has not been easy. I'm going to ask you now if you will go back to the jury room, and I will be back there in just a moment to talk to you, okay?
I mean, this is what I thought they should do and what I wanted them to do. I thought he should have been found guilty for first degree. But with all the questions, I'm like, I don't know what page they're on anymore. I don't know.
Yes, Susan.
Okay.
Your Honor, at this time, I would make a request that sentencing be deferred to give defense counsel more of an opportunity to present mitigation.
State?
Your Honor, we would oppose that request and would ask that we proceed to sentencing as soon as possible.
I'm going to give 15 minutes. Fill out them kind of sentencing sheets. Do you feel like you need a little bit more? But I'm going to sentence them within the next 30 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor. The other thing I would, on behalf of Mr. Hughes, for reasons articulated specifically that
Their cameraman is so loud.
state did not produce sufficient evidence on each and every one of the elements of the offenses for which the jury convicted or on which the jury convicted Mr. Hughes, you for that reason would have been for a trial.
Okay. And your motion is denied. You're protected on the record. The only other thing that I need to do is just, and I had discussed this with counsel, as far as the verdict form up at the top, it just needs to be amended to read 2022 GS 23002194, and then it will be 2024 5425A, 2024 5413, and 2024 5412. I just wanted to make sure that that was on the record. It was just more of a typographical, the 4 instead of the 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We have no objection.
No objection, yeah.
What? And I'll just write on here. Thank you. All right, we'll be back in 30 minutes, 15 minutes.
15 minutes is fine.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute it for just a minute, and I'm gonna leave this up. When they come back in 30 minutes, that they're gonna say when for sentencing and go over things like that, so we can catch up with that, put in our calendars. Oh my gosh. I was just starting to read some of my messages. Yeah, I'm happy for a quick verdict too. And a lot of people, when he took the stand, thought that he was well-spoken and good. And I was like, I think something's a little bit off with him. Not compared to how I felt when I saw Bradley Post and even John Mello. Those two really, it was like red flags. Something's off majorly with both of them. But he seems like something is weird too. So I agree with you. How long did they deliberate? Great question. Not that long. I'm going to check right now, though, to have an actual answer. Did their final closing. What are we thinking? They deliberated for 7 or 8 hours? Is that his family behind him? I'm gonna go look. I found 100% his adopted sister. I am going to write her, do my usual. I will ask one time, and if she doesn't want to talk, that's okay. No pressure, but I gotta ask. All right, let's see who was sitting behind him. Yeah, that looks like it's his family. I would imagine so. Yeah, that's his family that's sitting there. The girls, a couple of the girls are crying. Wherever Tina is, she's probably throwing a party. You know Tina's going to go to every single day of John Mello's trial. You just know it. Any chance she can get to be there and yell at him, she's going to be there. That's nice that they showed up for him. I could not find his family on any social media. And I think it might be because of this case. So if they go off the internet, that's that. But they also might have a lot of rules. It seems that they were heavy into their Christianity and maybe just thought they shouldn't have stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of what he said about her when he was on the stand. He said that they had to remove her from the family. But wasn't there like 2 other kids that were also adopted from Russia? I don't know if they're blood related or not to the other sister, but a couple of these teens are definitely adopted. Yeah. Yes. Have you seen the case that had been going on for years now about the one girl who was a Russian who, I forget what type of diagnosis she had, but she was a little person from Russia. She was adopted, and her family said that there's no way she was 12, that she's really like 35. So every single time I was trying to look for his sister, that's the only thing that kept popping up was that story. I'm like, no, not this one. Yeah. His odd justification of killing her. Openly lied to CPS. Thought showing people photos and how bad she is of a person, that maybe that would make the police or somebody do something. And when it didn't work, he said he had no options and killed her. That just doesn't make any sense. It's a family of 5. I think you are right. Although I have not seen that, but I think you are right. They just launched a whole nother thing for her. I don't know if they were following her day to day or doing something. But yeah, she's in the press a lot. Probably making money from it all. Well, I'm just happy. So he got his verdict, which 100% he should have gotten. But he also got John Mello. He was arrested while he was on the stand saying, oh yeah, John offered me twice to give me money to kill her. And they immediately went in, arrested him, and brought him in. good for the police for doing that right away. But yeah, he took John down with him. We don't know 100% till sentencing happens, but it's most likely going to be life in prison since it was first-degree murder. Unless something crazy happens and they somehow persuade the judge to alter it, but I don't think that will happen. And also, he built up a bad reputation by all of his actions these last 48 hours. That judge is not going to give him any sentence that he wants. I think he will do the max. He was very angry with Zachary, and he did a very good job of trying to keep control and just get it done. Do you want me to, let me see if they actually show the arrest part, but they do have for sure when he was brought in, and what was it, Kathy, a bond hearing, a very quick video. All right, let's John Mello. Yes, and of course, he was denied bond, as he should be. All right, I don't see like him being arrested at his house, but I did find the other one, so just give me 1 second and I'll pull it up. All right, sending it over, pulling it up. Let me know if you need any audio adjustments. I don't know if it's going to be super loud or quiet. All right.
All right, here we go. All right, are you Mr. Mello?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mello, I'm Judge O'Brien. I'm going to read you your rights. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right and obligation to be present at your trial. If you fail to show up for your trial, if you fail to show up for your trial, they'll place failure to appear charges against you, and you could face an additional 1 to 5 years in jail. You have the right to a trial by jury. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be provided for you through the public defender's office. If the charges that are placed on you are discharged, dismissed, not prosecuted, or if you're found not guilty, you have the right to have your record expunged or wiped clean from these charges. Now, you're being charged with a criminal offense, and if you were found guilty, you are facing serious consequences, which may include the payment of a fine, the loss of your driver's license, and the possibility of a jail sentence. In addition, you may face increased penalties for later convictions, the loss of your right to possess firearms or ammunition, and your immigration status could be affected. You have important constitutional rights, including the right to representation by an attorney, but you may lose those rights or waive them if you do not act to protect those rights. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you in every case. If you cannot afford an attorney, you may be eligible for a free attorney. If you want a determination made as to whether you are qualified for a free lawyer, then it is your obligation to be screened at the location identified in paragraph 5C of the bond checklist form that I'm going to give you today. If you do not hire an attorney or go to be screened, then you may be found to have waived your right to an attorney at your trial. You also have the right to represent yourself. However, you should be aware that self-representation can be dangerous. For example, there may be certain factual or legal defenses to your charge that you are not aware of, or legal issues related to the conduct of your trial or guilty plea that an attorney would know how to preserve for an appeal. If you exercise your right to proceed without a lawyer, then you are responsible for complying with all applicable rules of court, including rules of evidence, procedural rules, and proper behavior before the judge and jury. If convicted on the charges filed against you and ordered to pay a fine, you may request a reasonable scheduled payment plan to pay that fine. It is your obligation to keep up with your trial date and to obtain an attorney, either by hiring one or by being screened and found eligible for a court-appointed attorney prior to your trial date. If you do not appear at your trial with your attorney, you may be deemed to have waived your right to have an attorney represent you. And finally, you are required to keep the court notified of any changes of your address until the completion of your case. Do you understand so far, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Mello, you're being charged with solicitation to commit a felony and accessory before the fact of murder. These are both general sessions charges, which means you have an additional right. You have the right of a preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing is an evidence hearing where the state has to show that they have the evidence to take you to court. If you want that hearing, take the form I'm going to give you and fill it out. You can mail it or take it to the address on the form, or you can fill it out tonight and give it back to me. But you only have a total of 10 days to get that form turned in. Otherwise, you lose your right to that hearing. Now, accessory before the fact to a felony is a violent crime in South Carolina. Based on the nature of these charges and the situation involved in these cases, this case, I am going to no bond you, and I'm going to send you to the circuit court for a bond hearing. Your next court date will be sometime in the next 30 days. I can't tell you if it could be 3 days from now or 30 days from now, because that'll have to be scheduled by the solicitor's office. But at that point in time, it'll be up to them to decide as to whether to grant you a bond or to keep you in jail until your court date. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so, thank you.
All right, sir, sit tight right there. I've got some papers for you to sign.
I'm waiting. Tina's coming. Just wait a second. I don't know how she found out so fast that he got arrested, but man, did Christina's sister get there very quickly.
And also, when you finish that, sir, just sit tight for a moment, okay? All right, Mr. Mello, one more thing. It's my understanding that Tina Parcell is in the courtroom. Tina, as I understand it, you're the sister of the victim. Is that correct, ma'am? Would you like to say anything to the court in reference to this proceeding? Please, go ahead.
And waited 1,224 days for this. And I wish I could tell you it felt really good, John, but it's not gonna feel good yet. I've been every day of this trial. One witness to what you all have done. Every day of this trial. Every day out of this trial. My family, with your family. You did this to your family. Your child has to know that you did this to her family. I don't know where I would be in this time, but I assure you, if I am at all capable, I will be there every day. When you are convicted, I will be there at every parole hearing. Everyone. You will never get rid of me. And that is your own fault. You did this to yourself. So I have your honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Purcell. I appreciate you coming. Mr. Mello, do you have any questions before we end this?
No,
All right, sir, you're free to go with the officer.
You will never get rid of me. I will be there for every single hearing until you are in jail. Good for her for sticking up for her sister, and she actually knew to the day how long it's been that Christina was killed. So obviously really sad, and I do think she is the one that's going to get custody of their daughter. It's going to be interesting. Even if he's only in jail for a few years, I don't know how that will work out with his daughter. Things to have to follow and check on in the future, I guess. All right, I'm glad that we were here to see that. It's been a good trial, and this now allows us to pick out a new one. We're still going along with Monica's, but if there's another trial that you would like to start watching, I saw there were several new ones that I think started this week. So if I don't hear anybody saying anything, I'll look through what I can find and choose the one I think will be the most interesting to follow. But on that note, I am going to get off of here. I might be back on in a few hours. Maybe not, though. I have a lot of editing I am still doing, but I'm getting close, so that's good. All right. As always, thank you for watching.